Hello, and welcome to Embracing the Fight. I am Erica Lamar, your digital creator and host. And if you've been with me since January of 2023, you will know that Embracing the Fight is about normalizing the conversations surrounding physical and mental health issues and concerns. What does that even mean? That means we're trying to open the door here to have the type conversations that help to end depression, that help people to get through the tough and difficult times in their lives, whether they've just found out that they have cancer or they found that they've just lost a loved one. You need to give those things a voice. And in order for us to start doing that, someone has to start somewhere. So I started with me. I started off this discussion with my journey through thyroid cancer. And you notice I said through because once I get to the other side, I'm going to let you guys know because I don't plan to stay here. I don't plan to have cancer forever. Now, with that being said, hopefully you are subscribed, you click like, you comment, and you share. And if you don't, there's still time. Go ahead and do it today, though. I would love to have you as a subscriber. I would love for you to be a part of my community, Embracing the Fight. Now that I've gotten the business of everything out of the way, today I wanted to talk about episode 112, Uncertain Time. So, what really is driving this episode is what I've seen, in the news and on social media. A lot of people, especially those that work in government, have been losing their jobs. And it appears to us that there's no rhyme or reason as to why certain departments are, just getting rid of positions or just closing their doors, or they're telling people to resign and they'll be paid like through September. Now that is something I have never seen in my lifetime. And I have been, here, lived in the United States. I am from the United States. I am a United States citizen. I was born here, raised here, and I've been here 47 years, and I have not seen anything like this. The only thing that I hear, like the older generation, the baby boomers, the silent generation, they liken it to the Great Depression, but we have so much more technology, and it seems like it's so much worse because it's impacting the entire world, not just, the United States. Well, if you're one of those people that has, say, worked in government for 30 plus years and now you find yourself unemployed with no insurance and no life insurance, because a lot of people don't understand when a person decides to be a career employee where they don't, desire to be an entrepreneur or anything like that, but they invest and they do different things, with their money, that once their job ends, all of the benefits basically go with it. Now, there's a such thing as Cobra that you're offered for, I think it's up to 18 months, that will allow you to keep, the health insurance. And then they offer you a similar package that you had while you were working for the life insurance that you had. And the same kind of thing would apply to your um, 401k, IRA. They offer to help you either switch it over to like a self-directed IRA or a personal, IRA. They try to move everything out, but it is no longer the responsibility of the company to manage it because you are no longer their employee. So imagine being 2 weeks away from retirement and someone comes into your office and tell you that, you're fired. Imagine that you have been all of your life basically paying everything off and you weren't necessarily investing, but you were so close, to owning your home. You've paid for all of your children to go, to college, or you've helped them to start their businesses or whatever it is that they desire to do. You did that. But now you were working these, couple of days, few weeks, whatever, because you're expecting, to get a pension at the end of your retirement. Well, a lot of people don't understand that if you get fired, you don't get a pension. If they eliminate your job, you don't, I shouldn't say you don't get it. You're not guaranteed, the pension unless they offer you some type of package. And in most of these people's cases, there's no package, being offered. So if you're that person and you're at retirement age, you probably have some medications that are going to be, pretty high. So let me give you an example. Um, for me, I take Eliquis. And with insurance, Eliquis is almost about $368, right? For a 30-day supply, meaning one pill, each day, if it's 2.5 milligrams. So without insurance, a 30-day supply is $1,585. But if you're like me and take two pills a day, that means instead of 1585, I'll be paying double that, which is 3170. And that's that's pretty huge chunk that I would have to pay, every month. Imagine paying almost $35,000, you know, um, a year for one medication. And then what if you take something else for blood pressure? Or like me, like I said, I have thyroid cancer and I no longer have a thyroid, so I have to take levothyroxine. Imagine if I had to pay, for that as well, what it would cost. So there's something that I don't think a lot of people know when it comes to medicine and your medical care when you are uninsured and unemployed. Now, there are some steps that you can take. First, you can go to, the marketplace and look for affordable health care. But depending on what goes on in the government, in the coming days, coming weeks, I'm not exactly sure, what affordable health care and the marketplace will actually look like. But right now, you can apply for Medicaid and you can also get low cost, insurance depending on your situation. Like if you're unemployed and uninsured, you can definitely do those things. You can also apply for unemployment and then it has to go through adjudication and you have to decide whether or not you should get it. All right, so those are two things. But I'm saying, what if go through adjudication and you don't, get the unemployment and say you apply for affordable health care at the marketplace and it's coming up 600, 700, dollars a month because you're older and you require prescriptions, or you might be younger, but you also have some type of illness, then of course, your insurance is going to be higher. But if you don't have the money, what do you do? Say you don't have insurance. So now you're unemployed still and you have no insurance. There's something that you can do. So, depending on what type of medication you take, what you need to do is find the company that manufactures the medication. So, let me give you an example. Like with the Eliquis, once you find out that you absolutely need it, it's life-saving, you don't have insurance, you don't have a job, you can reach out to Bristol Myers Squibb. They have patient assistance. And this is where people have either donated to this foundation so they can provide money to the patients, or the company is putting this money there as a form of a donation, or they have a nonprofit assistance, program that they have. So I don't know exactly, how it was formed or what it is, but a lot of large drug companies, pharmaceutical companies have these types, of assistance. And what you do is you complete the form. The form will ask you, who you are, some specifics about where you live, your age, your social security number, where you previously worked, how long you've been out of work, the type of medication that you need, how much of it you need, and how long you need it for, and then you send it in. And then once you send that in, they ask your doctor, to complete the information as well. So you really need to stay behind them, because what will happen is you'll run out of the medication you have and your application may still be sitting there. So you should call, you should check, you should email and ask, what's the status of your application, because places like Bristol Myers Squibb, what they'll do is they'll give you a year's worth of medication for free. or up to a year's worth of medication, depending on what your financial need is and the issue that caused you to actually be there. And it's worth a try. Another thing, if you find that you have a whole lot of medical bills, say that you have cancer, say that you have diabetes, or you've had a stroke, all of these things require special medical attention and multiple medical visits. What you should do is ask to speak with social worker or patient advocate because there are people that donate to hospitals, that donate to urgent cares, to doctors' offices to help people who cannot pay their medical bill. You just have to be able to go in and articulate what it is that's causing you to not be able to pay your bills. Because I often wonder, how do some people, pay their medical bills and how do they get their medication? A lot of it is through philanthropy because some people have a lot of money and they don't have, a lot of issues, but they see that they can use their money, for the greater good to help others. So you should go in and you should ask to speak with a patient advocate, or there's also volunteer specialists that are in hospitals that work directly with patients who have, those medical issues that cannot take care of their financial responsibilities. What you don't want to do is allow these bills to just stack up and stack up and stack up and not paying them because they could potentially refuse you service. And if you refuse service at a critical time, who knows what can happen to you and your health. So you have to use your voice. So the other thing, that you can do if, like I said, you don't have insurance and you don't have a job, you can start where you go to these community health centers that offer free services. And 9 times out of 10, they're able to tell you, what other options you have, what other things, that you can do to make sure that you're getting proper care until you can get back on your feet. Now, you have people out there that are self-employed that are falling into, a similar category because say, imagine if you are a general contractor that works on roads and you live somewhere like, I don't know, Buffalo, New York, and it's snowing. You're not going to be working on any roads for a very long time. With the road being frozen and all, it's kind of hard to pour asphalt or repair concrete and things of that nature at those temperatures. So you basically are in the same boat. And guess what? You can do the exact same thing. You just explain your situation, being self-employed and what you've actually run into. Because once you're able to explain these things, these companies have these foundations, they have these payment assistance programs all set up for times and things like this. Sure, you got those folks that are out there scamming that'll tell you, "Oh, I'll help you, put your information in, send this in, that in." Don't go with that. I'm saying go specifically straight to the company that manufactures whatever medicine or whatever, like if you need needles or pumps, for those that are diabetic, or if you need, say, a CPAP machine and you can't afford it, or anything like that, you are able to reach out to the manufacturer that actually makes those things and request an application for payment assistance. You won't be denied the application, but depending on how you describe your situation, that is what is going to leverage whether or not you'll be able to receive what they are offering. Now, a lot of people, kind of, don't want to tell others when they're struggling financially because they feel like, well, they can't help me anyway, and all they do is know my business. Because you can actually get with your family and get your family to start a trust. And if everyone is putting money into this trust and say they put it into like a money market account, or not necessarily money market, but if it's more of a interest bearing, account, something that's more like a mutual fund, and it's going to make you money, year over year, and you agree that a certain amount, can be distributed, every year based off of need, then families can basically become their own banks to help the ones that are struggling. Now, sure, you're probably sitting there saying, oh, it's the same person that's struggling all the time. Well, if that's the case, then there's another issue, something that, you need to discuss and work with as a family, because sometimes people just need someone to care and not be pushed into a corner and thought of as a trouble or bother. And then if you think about if you think about it, when you get older, you may be in the same situation. And then who do you look to if you've never helped anyone either? But if you have a family trust, there's so much more that you can do with that. But if you find yourself right now without one, like I said, there are angels still in the world that will help you if you give your issue a voice. For instance, I went on a crowdfunding site and I was looking at a video where this man was talking about how he migrated to the US from Guatemala with his parents. And now, he's a naturalized citizen. And he talked about how he had to live, with different family members that were already here. And sometimes they were homeless, and sometimes, they had all these different issues. People were sick, people were dying, but they felt like America was the place, to be. And this was in the early 60s. Well, he wanted to tell, his story about it, but he was like, I don't have, the funds to tell the story. And because his story resonated with so many people, he was only asking for like $15,000. And he got crowdfunded for almost $350,000. So imagine what he originally wanted to do was a short film. Now he can do, a film, he can do a book, he can do lots of different things, to tell his story. And that extra money, he may be able to do something, to help his family generations to come, depending on how, he uses it. And it's all because he didn't think about, who would talk about him or who would laugh at him when he asked for help. That's why a lot of people are in the situation, that they're in during these uncertain times. It's because of the fear of people looking at them, laughing at them, saying that, oh, you don't have a job, or oh, you don't have this, or oh, you don't have that. When truth be told, everybody, I'm going to say everybody, a lot of people are about a month away from being in the same situation if they were to lose their job. Just think about it. You could put your money in savings accounts. They don't even give you 1%, return. You could put your money, in a mutual fund. You could put it in an IRA. You could do cryptocurrency. You could do real estate. It's a lot of things that you could do. But what happens when it doesn't go right or it doesn't go well and you lose money? And then say you lose your job. And all that money that you saved all of your life, that you put into this investment to help build generational wealth, is now gone and now you're unemployed. Then you're in the same situation with these people that have decided, to work all their lives and they've lost their jobs. Or those people who never actually made it, who, for whatever reason, didn't get the best job, or they were constantly fired, or who knows what the situation is, but they never really made it. And they've always had to live on what people refer to as a system. And for me, I never understood why anyone would look down on anyone for trying, because everyone is not meant to be the CEO of a corporation. Everyone isn't meant to be a millionaire, because if that were the case, everything would have to be run, by robots or something, because who would be cleaning the toilet? Who would be stocking the shelves in stores? Who would be taking care of those beautiful Airbnbs and hotels and cleaning, getting them ready for guests? Who would serve you food? Like, how would these things work if everyone was an entrepreneur and everyone was a millionaire or billionaire? Like, how would it work unless you had robots doing everything else? So, those jobs that are noble, no one should look down on them because they're required to make our lives easier or to make things more pleasant and better. So when you see people that are out there working hard and struggling to make that money, and they're not exactly where they need to be financially, and they have to lean on the system, that is not to be frowned upon. You should want to help those folks rather than look down on them. Because, like I said, truth be told, after you lose your job a month or two out, you might be just like that, trying to figure out how to make ends meet, especially if you were living above your means and you still trying to hold on to this stuff that's not making you any money. Sure, you could let it go. But if you let it go, then what? You have to have a plan. So that's something else that you should consider. Like if a company parts ways with you, there are resources out there. Like for instance, in Florida, we have Career Source. That if you sign up for unemployment, you have to either visit, the Career Source and let them know, hey, I'm actively looking for a position, or you have to show the unemployment office that I have applied to 5 jobs and either A, I was turned down, they took the position away, I was overqualified, whatever reason it is, you have to know the reason. But you have to do this each and every week. Now, I don't know how it is in every other state, but Florida, it's pretty different here. And imagine now that, okay, I have to go and I have to look for this job and I have to provide proof. That's still like work. Imagine going on 25, 35 interviews and constantly hearing no. You either wasted gas, wasted time and effort doing these things, and you hadn't got a penny to show for it. You know how discouraging, that is, or how that can be for a person. So in these uncertain times, what I'm asking is that if you know of someone who is unemployed, uninsured, or they're just going through a rough time, don't just pray for them. Because sure, prayer, it does change things. But God places people in our lives to do his work. So there are times when you could have a pocket full of money and you see a homeless person, you say, I'm not going to help them. Why? If you're willing and able to do it, you should do it. But I know you can't take all the money that you have and give all the money away because you'll be in the same situation. But I mean, when you have those thoughts of negativity to help others, the question is why? Because what happens when the tables turn and you need someone to help you? So in these uncertain times, I'm asking that you just give to someone or give to a cause that could potentially help those people that are struggling. Because think about it like this. I know this is going to be a horrible thing to say, but imagine all those people that have lost those jobs, that are used to all these different things. Imagine if they started robbing people, started doing these, what is it called? When the people are coming to the homes and kicking the doors in and killing everyone and taking what they can take. Like, imagine that happening. Imagine seeing people getting carjacked in broad daylight more often than not because people are desperate and they don't know what to do. And when they don't know what to do, What do you think they may resort to? I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not saying that they should resort to violence or to robbing or to killing or anything like that. I'm saying offer them the resources. Even if you don't have a dime to give them and you've watched this episode, tell them that there are resources. There's hope. And even if you can't remember all the things that I said in this episode, tell them to Google it. Tell them to go to ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT, hey, if I'm uninsured and unemployed in this state, what steps can I take to get on my feet? Rather and pushing someone to the side, making them feel like they're nothing, or talking down to them when all you had to do was offer some level of support. You'd be amazed at the change in the world that you could make by offering your support, especially in these uncertain times. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Embracing the Fight. I hope that you take this message and you share it with as many people as possible, because not only will this help to heal the world one person at a time, it can potentially change the trajectory of things that are going on in the government, in the economy, within the family, within the world. Imagine if we created our own communities and supported one another. The change would be greater than you could ever imagine. So thanks again for watching. And as always, I want you to have an absolutely amazing day.